or thank you. However it makes sense. The ultimate aspiration is right, which is to end suffering. But how much ever we think this makes sense, I'm going to yell over you, or I'm going to make my point over you, or it never works, really. And I get a lot of opportunities to look at that. And so the chapter was particularly right on target for me. We'll take a look at that. And then the other one is, how do we place confidence not only in the teachings, not only in the community, but in the teacher? Well, this is an interesting thing for me as a teacher, because how do we have confidence in someone who says, I just got it all wrong? I didn't use the skills. I didn't use the teachings. I am failed, or I said the name of my next mindfulness book will be Failed and Fucked Up, but Still Mindful. And that feels right on target for me. How do we have confidence, though, in someone who says, I was right there getting it all wrong? And that actually the confidence comes right from it, doesn't it? If you ever hear anybody say, I just keep getting it right, you might pause, because that's a little worrisome for me. And I just joined the Tony Robbins 5-day. I'm not going to be able to watch it. I actually can't even watch it. And I've already just done like 20 seconds of the thing. And it's, we're going to make you better. You're going to be more fabulous. You're going to, and then you can be just like Tony. And I was like, yeah, I actually know Tony. I don't want to be like Tony. And I definitely don't want to be like Tony's sales staff that I happen to work with. And so be watchful, and we'll talk about this in the chapter as well. Be watchful of these ideas and the idealizing that we tend to bring. If I could only get like that some other way, if I could only be like them, they've got it together. Then I could practice. Then I would get compassionate. Then really it's harder. It's like, no, right in the middle of the failing, how do we get compassionate? Right in the middle of goofing it up and watching ourselves, do we turn the open heart towards ourselves? How do you do that? Now that's a lot harder than anything Tony Robbins is going to talk about in those 5 days. And by the way, it's more meaningful also. So we're going to practice today with this turning towards an opening and turning towards an opening, because this is our essential practice.
The monk kicking the tire is my favorite story.
Libby says the monk kicking the tire is her favorite story.
Yep.
And yeah, that came out of our first retreat. Norma Jean Dayak, my beloved partner and teacher and friend, we sat in our first 10-day retreat, and I fell in love, literally, Vipassana romance, they call it, with the monk sitting next to me, who was just so pristine, did never move. I never saw the guy move in the whole 10 days. When I got there, he was sitting, and when I left, he was sitting. He was amazing. I didn't see him eat. I didn't see him go to the bathroom. The guy just sat there like the Buddha for 10 days. And as we were leaving the 10-day retreat, he was walking in front of us, and I was just about to go up to him to tell him how much I admired him and his commitment to the practice. And he walked up and had a flat tire on a car and started kicking the tire and swearing up and down, and literally had like a complete meltdown over this. And it saved me. It saved me. It was beautiful. It was, anything you idealize is certain to fail and fall. that was perfect, and that no matter how good we look, this is not the point. We ultimately have to confront our vulnerabilities and our humanness and our, right? And I was so dejected, like, oh, brother, see, nobody's got it together. And that may be, there may be an element of truth in it, because we're human. But then maybe the other truth is maybe anybody who's willing to commit oneself to a daily practice, maybe we've all got it together. Really, maybe just by virtue of I'm willing to take some amount of time every day, 60 breaths, 15 minutes, whatever it is you can muster. And I hope that that only grows. That you've already got it together, that you know something, really. I mean, like something amazing, right? To take that amount of time, whatever it is for you, to be still, maybe that means you do have it together. And so I'd like to practice with that. This idea that no matter what we're working on, and we're all working, that we've also made some kind of essential commitment to compassion, to kindness, to presence, and that it matters, really. And so let's start there together. Thank you all for joining. I may get cut off because our system just isn't working well today. Hopefully later I'll try again on the computer and we'll see if we can't. But I think this is good enough for now. Carrie, is there anything you want to?
Yes, Denise logged on today and she said that there is a mistake in the Zoom link on the website. There's an extra O in Zoom. So
Extra O in Zoom.
Yeah.
Thank you, Denise, for that information. We have that listed in about 90 locations.
Yeah.
So if you could tell me where you tried that, that would be helpful because it's several spots.
Right.
So thank you. If you
Yeah,
could
it was on the website, the EMC website.
Yeah, we have that Zoom link many places.
Okay,
So I'm thinking there was probably a spot
Yeah.
that you went to that had that identified incorrectly. We'll also take a look, but if you have any recollection of that, it will just be a little bit helpful. But not required, just that we know is good. Thank you. All right, so we're going to start our practice. And remember, for me, we're starting by already acknowledging then our beautiful commitment. And if we can do it today, we can do it tomorrow. And we just set the aspiration for this one moment, right? We don't even try to think about tomorrow's practice because who knows, right? What that will be in the circumstances of our life. But we set this tone. Quality of heart mind is really the point. It isn't the number of minutes. It's not what practice. It's not whether you did it silently or guided, right? These are all the ways we get ourselves twisted. Like, well, then I got to do it like this. Not really. Really what it does require, though, is one's complete open heartedness with just yourself right now. And so let's see if we can't begin together like that. And so you find a posture, whichever it is, sitting or lying, that invites that wakefulness and that making contact in some way with that bodhicitta heart, the one that got you here, the one that said, this is more important than making that breakfast. This one's more important than taking the walk right now. And it's not saying it's more important than those things. in a day, but for right now. Here we are. And in the chapter, it says, if we could do two things, we would have a perfect practice. And those two are try not to cause harm and then try to make a contribution. And that those two are the whole of the practice, really. Try not to cause harm and then try to be of benefit in some way. And so let's rest in that intention for a few minutes. And may this practice then be of benefit to all beings. This is the third element of the noble principles. All beings everywhere without exception, including the people that live in your house and the neighbor who throws those things back over the fence, and that person who took that $100,000 in your business deal. We're going to practice for all of them. And so just checking in on the heart space as we sit here, and let's use the heart-centered breath today. We breathe into the heart space and out from it, resting the attention in the rhythm, in the felt sense of the breath, right in the area of the heart. And Chogyam says, if you're alive, you're going to notice something. And let's see if you can stay in contact with whatever sensations or lack of sensations you make contact with. And for me, I always catch a little bit of a grip on the right side. If I'm really paying attention, it's pretty subtle. There may be a sense of weightedness or tension, maybe a tightness. Sometimes that tight spot, that armor, that barrier, the felt sense of separation is what we make contact with. And there's no thing better than another. Whatever it is, see if we can't just breathe with it for several moments. Making contact with that queasy tenderness of being alive. Tony Robbins' program this year is called Unshakable Mind. And there is only one way to cultivate unshakable mind, and that is to turn towards our vulnerabilities, our humanness, our fears, our pain, our confusion, our anger, whatever is arising here, and to do so with a gentleness, a friendliness, an openness. We could say non reactivity, non judgment, maybe no struggle. Softening the face, releasing the shoulders, letting the body release a little bit around the heart space with each out breath. Stabilizing the mind. Breath by breath. And it doesn't matter what sensations are arising, we simply allow them to come and go. And be watchful of these ego habits. They start right away to go, well, maybe I could breathe that out. Maybe I could change it or get rid of it or make it feel better. And this is spiritual bypassing at its best. And that's not the practice. Whether it's a pinch or a hot spot or deadening, we simply make contact, recognize, and allow. That's the beginning. You may be called to other sensations throughout the body. Maybe thoughts about sensations, maybe sound, maybe planning. It doesn't matter where the mind moves, just the recognition that it has moved is a beautiful practice. And then we simply invite ourselves home. Back to the breath, back to the breath, moving in and out of this available heart space, whatever is here. May I turn towards my experience in this body, in this heart space, exactly as it is. This is the Bodhisattva path, the cultivation of that unmoving, unshakable mind. It's happening one breath at a time. Feeling sensations as they arise and pass, and being watchful of the storyline, the thoughts about the sensations. And when you recognize that this has happened, this once again is that moment of awakening. And we simply drop back down into the body, into the heart space, feeling whatever sensations are present right now. There's no analyzing. There's no interpreting. There's no experience itself. And then I'd like you to turn towards that tight, tender spot, the one that's radiating sensation, that's got something to tell you. And then you're simply inviting of the inquiry, what does this sensation want you to know? And this open inquiry is essential to the practice. Yes. Without preference, without bias, without judgments or preconceived ideas, we simply arrive to this human heart, this one breath, with that openness, that friendliness, that curiosity, that letting be. And then I'd like you to recollect a moment of reactivity, maybe a moment of fear, a moment of anger, maybe confusion, distress of some sort. Recollecting that moment, I want you to see how it impacts those sensations. And I'm recollecting that exchange with my husband and feeling slight intensity of that space that I'm feeling. And be watchful of our habits. One is to get rid of it, to switch, to distract, to force it to be some other way. This is not, again, the training. Can I simply breathe in, make contact, and allow? We are creating a stable mind, which offers, and it's teaching. All experiences a teacher, even this one. And can we stay and then also stay interested and open, even as these sensations change or subside or become more intense? And can we begin to recognize that whatever the contraction, that it actually is costing you. It's squeezing your boundaries. It's costing your kindness, your compassion, your openness. And intended or not, it is preventing the knowing. And it is the knowing that transforms, not the getting away from. Can we allow our vulnerability here, our humanness, just like this? And then on the turn the other way, get pissed about, can we breathe in and make room? And stay. Can we invite that radiant light of awareness, of love, loving kindness, right here to this tight or spot? It's usually both. And once again, be watchful of the storyline. And that looks like conversations about why it should or shouldn't be, what else it should be, how the circumstances are really the problem. And this is never true. And it's very convenient. We all have circumstances that account for our shutdown, our turning the other way. And it's never helpful. It contributes to harm. In this practice, we don't rip off the Band-Aid. That's softly, gently peel away the armor. Breath by breath. And can we feel for ourselves in this tenderness, in this anger, in this confusion, in this protection, whatever's here. Can we recognize the very habit as the genuine wish to be happy, free from distress, from confusion? And that by this very radical act of compassion and loving kindness, this very willingness to stay, we are transforming. We are causing least harm. And contributing. And as we begin to soften, as we begin to become a little more gentle, a little more compassionate, we see that it is the armor itself that is causing the suffering. The pain is the pain, the fear is the fear, but the armor really shuts us down, closes us off, separates us from the healing. And so then with each breath, we simply see if we can soften up just a little bit more. And that softening simply invites feeling the truth of our experience, not just the armor, the vulnerability, the helplessness, the pain or fear that's present here. It's just fine. And with that inquiry, with that deepened understanding, with that contact, we make an offer. We offer ourselves to ourselves. Like, I'm going to really show up here with this just like it is. Whether it's one breath, a half a breath, or 50 breaths, it all matters. And rather than try to get rid of anything then, We simply draw our experience closer. We hold it gently, lovingly. We breathe it in, we let it be. And then we feel for ourselves in our pain, in our confusion, in our anger. May we all be free from this inner and outer affliction. And in this moment, we are the alchemists transforming the suffering into the gold, into the goodness, into the medicine that we can then offer for ourselves and others and the world. We breathe into our tenderness, our tightness, and remember, this is the tightness and the tenderness of all human beings. And we willingly take it in. Let it metabolize in our own bodhicitta heart, and then send it back out, purified, unshakable. We and others are fortified and practice. And then we rest in that boundless heart. Feeling the greater ease, the calm, the openness. The equanimity. And may we all practice like this for ourselves and others. Until all beings are free. May we all be happy. May we all be free from suffering. May we recollect our good fortune. Wish this good fortune for others. And may we rest in this open heart, sense of calm, of ease, of equanimity. Available every breath. And now. And may the benefits of this practice continue to grow and flourish. Until all beings are free. So I heard the recording go on somewhere in there. I don't know what happened, if we fell off or never went on or whatever. Just know that I'm glad you're still here. And I'm going to see if I can't get on now. Thank you for those who were able to join for the practice. I'm going to see if I can't get on now so that I can switch over and we can look at.
You're on. Diana, you're being recorded now.
Yeah,
Very, very
Yeah,
well.
I
During the medication, there was a
heard it
problem, but
go on. Okay. I'm glad it worked. We're
the
gonna
audio
see if we
stayed the
can,
whole time,
okay,
so that was good.
wonderful. Thank you. I think I'm gonna be able to join. Let's see if I can.